Hi, I'm Laurel from Arts Nursery, and I'm with
Michael Dean, founder of Gaia Green.
Together, we are answering some of our Arts Nursery viewer questions. So come and join us, and we'll try and give you some great answers. So we have a question. I know there are a lot of concerns about safety with different fertilizers and things. One question from our viewer is, can you fertilize things that you're going to eat?
You know, organic doesn't necessarily mean safe. I wouldn't recommend fertilizing more than a week before you feed because your plant's growing, but you can fertilize. There's not a lot of concern about contamination, and wash your plants before you eat them and go for it. With regards to safety, at Gaia Green, we're very particular about sourcing our materials. So we use the highest quality inputs that are available on the market. It's extremely important to us that everything meets the minimum production standards. You know, that said, always wash your vegetables before you eat them, but we're using very high quality natural and organic inputs in all the products we make.
One of the questions that we get all the time at the nursery is, what do the numbers mean? But you're saying fertilizer isn't just about the numbers.
The numbers on the bottom, that is considered to be the major fertilizer nutrients: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Our all-purpose is 4-4-4. So that is enough of those nutrients to carry. The weight of this product is 4-4-4, which is a total of 12. So 12% of what's in here is that major nutrient. The other 88% of this is 100% soil food. So everything that's in there is a combination of minerals, plant and animal byproducts, all things that in nature are cycled by soil organisms to ultimately feed plants. So it's that other 88% that gives us a great deal more value. So don't overvalue the NPK.
So it's all about building soil health, building the bacteria that are in the soil to help the plants.
Yeah, so this is a holistic, natural system working with nature to feed the plants the way nature intended.
So another question from another viewer is, if I could buy only 3 of the Gaia Green products, what would they be?
Well, my number one choice is always all-purpose. It's got a combination of our best products in it, and you're going to get the best value, and different plants will take what they need. Then it would be the glacial rock dust, which has broad spectrum trace minerals. There's in some cases, plants like orchids that don't need a lot of nutrient, but they do need minerals to bring out those bright colors in their flowers and so on. So always glacial rock dust. I don't plant anything without it, or I haven't in the last 30 years, and I'm not about to start now. And then the third would be the worm castings, Gaia Green worm castings, which are a very high quality African nightcrawler casting, and they contain tens of thousands of species of beneficial bacteria and fungi that process nutrients, break it all down. So they're the biology, and these are the nutrients that feed that biology, and they do all their cycling and feed the plants.
We have another question, and I love this one. The question is, when do I use each one? I get confused, and I just use all-purpose on everything.
Well, that's a great question. Just don't be confused. Just use all-purpose on everything. That's totally fine. That's why I created it, to take the guesswork out. We have a full line of products for people that are working with different recipes and want to do their own formulation. That's fine. But with all-purpose and Power Bloom, we've done the work for you. Just go with that. It will work.
Question from one of our viewers, and it is, how often do I fertilize my indoor houseplants, my tropical houseplants?
Well, with Gaia Green, you can fertilize your houseplants probably once a month. Lightly dig it into the soil. Some plants will appreciate a complex blend, or some just need a little minerals like our glacial rock dust, and watch the response from your plants.
How do I fertilize my hanging baskets and my planters? I thought you needed worms to break down the organic fertilizer.
Two good questions there. Here's what I do with the Power Bloom, because we have all flowering plants here, is simply take a handful and sprinkle it around, and then we're just gonna water it in. What we normally do is where we have access to the soil, we'll scratch it in a little bit, so the bacteria in the soil will have contact with the product to break it down. We can do the same with worm castings. I prefer to incorporate a little in when we're planting. So when you're planting, if you're planting up your own baskets, add a little worm castings and a little fertilizer in. A month later, you can do it a little more. The organisms will live happily in the soil in a container, and you don't have to necessarily add more. If you haven't added them in at planting time, it's good to put a little handful and just sprinkle it on and wash it in, and the plants will respond.
We have a question from another one of our viewers. How do I fertilize my blueberries with Gaia Green organic products?
Well, okay, I would say first of all, for blueberries, they need minerals. So all-purpose and glacial rock dust can be sprinkled on the surface, lightly scratched in, roughly once a month. Once you plant in the ground, don't fertilize directly around the plant. You want to go out maybe a foot away from the plant in a circle, and that will absorb into the ground, and the bacteria will move it into the soil complex, and the roots will go out to reach it, so it'll help to expand the roots of the plant.
That'll help blueberries a lot because they have a very fibrous root system, and so we actually want to get them anchored in well, so that'll help. So your blueberries won't stunt out midway through August. When and how often do I fertilize my leafy greens like kale, as well as my fruiting vegetables like tomatoes and peppers?
First of all, let's assume that you planted in the ground. You pull these out. What I would do is I would roll this root ball in all-purpose. Get it all over the root ball. It won't burn, and you're going to get explosive root growth. And then feed, once a month or so, and just watch how your plants are growing and respond. So the plants will decide what they need, so we don't have to worry about burning them, about putting too much or too little. Just do it by feel.
And if you have already got them growing in your garden and you didn't do that, or you started from seed, how often should we be?
I would say about once a month. I know in landscapes we try to do a heavy application before planting and an application after planting, and then often they're good for the season. So, but just judge by how your plants are performing. If they look hungry, feed them.
So if your tomatoes are looking hungry, if you've got a ton of fruit starting to set, that would be a good indication to fertilize at that time, or fertilize a little bit more.
And we may want to switch with a flowering fruiting plant like that when you're growing up your green material on the plant with all-purpose, and then switch to Power Bloom once you get into flowering and fruiting.
So we have a question from one of our viewers. Is Gaia Green dog safe, or cat safe, or pet safe?
That's a lot of safes. Actually, a lot of the ingredients that are in this product are used for animal feed. We don't encourage people to feed it directly to their pets, but if your dog gets out in the garden and licks up a little bit of all-purpose, you may have to take him for an extra walk because he might get a little fat.
We have a question from another one of our viewers. How do I fertilize my Venus flytraps?
Well, with flies, if you want them to get really big, I mean, this one's a little small. This might be a gnat trap, but eventually I would get up to feeding them small birds.